Hello, traders. FX Pip Collector here. Today is Wednesday, December 3rd, and this is my morning market breakdown of all the pairs on this list right here, which these are the pairs that I personally trade. And these are also the pairs that, anytime I do take a trade, I do share with my members at the exact time of entry. So definitely check out my website if you're interested in that. I always like to start off on the US dollar index because that tells me what to do basically on all the dollar pairs except for gold. Gold doesn't really care about the dollar index that much. Real quickly, I think we should take a look at the news. We have a few things to keep an eye out for today. This non-farm payroll is just an estimate of what the real non-farm is. That's definitely not a market mover, even though it's a red level event. But we got Lagarde speaking today. She definitely can move the market. ISM PMI definitely can be a market mover. And then later on, we got Lagarde speaking again. So I'm not really sure why she's talking twice today. And as you can see, Trump is on the schedule today, so Trump can definitely move the market depending on what he says. So definitely a few things to keep an eye out. This is London time, so just keep in mind that, just do whatever time zone you potentially live in. Now, the dollar is definitely still in an uptrend on the higher time phase. The weekly is definitely still up, and the daily is still up. Until we get a break and hold below this structure, the trend is definitely still up. Now, sometimes if market rejects a structure level, sometimes it'll just keep on going up. This upper box up here is still a target that I think could very likely get hit. Now, the move down on like the 4 hour time frame is very impulsive, so you would kind of expect the next move up to potentially be corrective, like a wave B or potentially a wave 2. But like I said, we really have to pay attention. If it rejects this structure, it may not be a corrective move. It may actually just turn into another impulsive move, continuing the uptrend. Down on the 4 hour time frame, this is my market structure right here on the 4 hour time frame that will tell me that this move down from here to here is complete. So if this makes a higher low and then starts working its way up and eventually ends up breaking that high right there, then we're going to know that this whole move from here to here is complete. And the fact that we're sitting at such an important support area, I think there's a very good chance that this could push up today, but we just have to keep in mind that, on the 4 hour time frame, the trend is down. And if it does, if this right here is some sort of a top, it definitely could break and hold below structure, come back and retest structure, and just continue the downtrend. So we're definitely keeping an eye on this area. It's a very important area. It's kind of a decision point for whether or not the dollar really has turned on the daily time frame or not. So keep the dollar analysis in mind as we look at all the other dollar pairs. The euro dollar is definitely still in a downtrend on the daily. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We still have a Fibonacci retracement out here. Yesterday I was talking about this big rejection candle, but I was also saying that, just looking at a candle like that and assuming that that's going to turn because you have a rejection candle is definitely not a good strategy. We need to see a break to the downside on shorter time frames to confirm that this wave right here is complete. The fact that the trend is down, I still think there is a chance that it could push down again. If it does decide to go up and break this high with momentum, I will be more than happy to stop looking for shorts and start looking for longs more long term. 4 hour time frame, this is our market structure. If it breaks and holds below there, I will definitely become much more bearish because that will tell me that the downtrend on the daily is back on. So going down to the 1 hour time frame, I honestly am kind of hoping that this is that 3, 4, 5 shape that you see at the end of most trends. If it is the 3, 4, 5 shape, then it will go down and it will break this low right here. But we have a Fibonacci retracement from here to here because the trend is definitely up on the 4 hour. If it makes a corrective pattern down to any one of these Fibonacci levels and then turns back up, we do want to keep in mind that we should primarily be looking for longs on the 1 hour time frame and below until we get this 4 hour time frame breaker structure. Which, like I said, based on the dollar index, I do think there is a good chance that it could go down today and break this low just based on the shape and based on the US dollar index. Moving on to the pound dollar is kind of the same story, but the pound to me really looks like it's making a pullback, a correction to this last push down right here. So we got our Fibonacci retracement on here. The trend is definitely still down on the pound dollar. We are sitting at the 50%. This right here is a bottom, so oftentimes bottoms do become tops. So I am looking at this as possibly turning down right here, continuing down for the weekly and daily time frame downtrend that we are currently in. But it's not just the Fibonacci level that's going to turn me bearish. It's the Fibonacci level with the breaker structure. So going down to the 4-hour time frame, we definitely do have a breaker structure from yesterday, as you can see. Now the problem is that it broke structure in a 3-3-5 pattern, which means that this could be a flat, and if it is a flat, it may actually just keep on pushing up. But it is definitely a solid breaker structure, so we definitely want to keep an eye on this right here to see if it makes a lower high. And if it does make a lower high because of this breaker structure, we probably should become very bearish. Going down to the 1-hour time frame, we can put our Fibonacci retracement on this push down right here. Like I said, to me, this looks like a flat pattern. This looks like it could be the end of a pullback. And if it is the end of a pullback, it may just keep on going up. But if it respects like the 78% or something, or maybe the 88%, goes down, makes a nice engulfing move to the downside at a fib level, because of this 4-hour time frame breaker structure, we definitely want to get bearish if we do see signs of this making a lower high, lower high. But like I said, be careful because the trend definitely is up on the 4-hour, and it definitely may keep going up. Moving on to the Aussie dollar. The Aussie is usually a little bit different. The Aussie did just recently break this daily time frame structure, but it's kind of rejecting it. We're going to have to keep a close eye on this one also to see if this is going to be like a rejection of structure, which will cause a push down, or whether it actually eventually ends up pushing above structure, holding above structure, retesting structure, and then continuing the uptrend. So going down to the 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour time frame structures right here. If it breaks below there, that's what's going to turn me bearish. Otherwise, I am definitely still looking for longs in an uptrend. Going down to the 1-hour time frame, unfortunately, the strategy right now is to already be long, or the strategy is to be patiently waiting for pullbacks to go long. Or if it goes down and breaks this 4-hour time frame low, then I would potentially wait for pullbacks and start looking for shorts on pullbacks. But because the trend is your friend and because the trend is up, I would definitely still looking for longs. Just be a little bit careful because this is definitely a pretty big resistance area on the daily time frame because of that structure break. It definitely could end up turning back to the downside and breaking that 4-hour time frame structure. So the Kiwi dollar is very similar to the Aussie dollar. We recently broke structure on this one also. Hopefully, I mean, it doesn't have to happen now. It could keep on drifting up, so just keep that in mind. But hopefully what happens is it starts a pullback, and then we can try to get long on the pullback for the continuation up. And if this really is the bottom of a wave C, eventually it would probably go up and break this high right here after, the pullback. So going down to the 4-hour time frame, this is our 4-hour time frame structure. If it breaks below here, I will definitely become bearish. And the next move down, I would expect to be a pullback to this whole move up, by the way. But it hasn't broken that low, so we are definitely still bullish. Going down to the 1-hour time frame, this is where I put my Fibonacci retracement on the last impulsive move up. If it goes down and breaks the 4-hour low, then we definitely are going to become bearish. We're going to know that this whole wave up is over on the daily. If it doesn't break this low and it goes down, makes a corrective pattern to one of these fib levels and turns back up, then definitely still looking for longs. The trend is your friend as always. So moving on to the US dollar CAD. Yesterday I was saying that this looks like a potential ABC correction, and obviously the trend is up until we break this low right here. It did bounce from the 78%, but so far it hasn't given us a break of structure. Like I always say, it's not just the fib level that turns me into, that changes direction for me, causes me to, trade in the other direction. It's the Fibonacci level and the break of structure, which you can't see the break of structure on the daily time frame. You got to go down to the 4-hour. On the 4-hour time frame, this is the current structure. Hopefully what happens is it goes down, makes a double bottom, then you can move your structure to here, then it goes up and breaks that high. If it does that, that would be a confirmed turn on the 4-hour. But the trend is your friend. The trend is definitely down on the 4-hour. We're definitely looking for shorts. Yesterday I said we were looking for shorts, and that was a perfect Fibonacci bounce right there, by the way, if anybody was paying attention. So very nice little entry to go short. Like I said, I think the most likely thing is it's going to go down and make a double bottom, and it could go up and break structure from that point, or it could just, bounce like this, make another pullback and just keep on trending down. It's not just the Fibonacci bounce that turns me in, causes me to start trading in the other direction. It's the Fibonacci bounce and the break of structure. Going down to the US dollar Swiss. Now, US dollar Swiss is technically down on the weekly, technically down on the daily. So we have to realize anything we see to the upside could just be a pullback, and this thing could just keep on going down. I got my Fibonacci retracement on here. Based on my Elliot wave pattern, I do think that there's a good chance it could go up and take out this high, but I always trust what the chart says. The chart says we're in a downtrend. The chart just made a lower high, lower high. There's a possibility that this keeps on going down. There's a very good possibility of that. So going down to the 4-hour time frame, Yesterday, I was talking about this 4-hour time frame structure. I said if it breaks and holds above there, then we become bullish, and it definitely never did. We are definitely still looking for shorts. If you've been following along with my videos, you potentially would have gone short yesterday when you saw it rejecting the structure. Unfortunately, the strategy right now for me is to look for shorts. I definitely wouldn't be looking for a short right here. I would be looking for a short on all these little pullbacks that you see along the way. So unfortunately, if you're not already short, then the strategy is to be patiently waiting for a pullback in order to go short, or the strategy is to be already short, looking for an exit for your short. So definitely still looking for shorts. This is still my structure level. If it does decide to go up and break this high right here, then I'll be happy to become bullish. If it doesn't go up and break that high, then I am okay looking for shorts and waiting for more shorts on pullbacks. Moving on to gold, which is kind of a fan favorite. I personally do not trade gold because I'm from the United States and you can't trade gold in the US if you're on a margin broker. So not a pair that I trade. It's the only pair on this list right here that I actually don't trade. I still think looks like a pulse down breaker structure. I still think this looks like a potential pullback, like a wave B or a wave 2. Still think this is either an A or 1. I still think at some point it's going to bounce from a fib level, which I don't think it's going to do now. I think it might go up one more time, but I still think it's either going to go down and make a C like this and then turn back up on the daily, or it's going to go down and make a 3, which would be very impulsive. Either way, the trend is definitely still up on the 4-hour. So going to the 4-hour time frame, the trend is still up. We do not have a breaker structure. We still are bullish on this. Even though we are expecting a decent turn, the turn has definitely not happened yet. There's no reason to say the turn has happened yet. Going down to the 1-hour time frame. Yesterday, if you were watching my video, I said that this is probably going to turn into a corrective pattern, which is exactly what it looks like it's doing. It looks like a potential wave A, wave B. I think it needs to go down for a wave C, and I think it's a wave 4 on like the 4-hour time frame. This up here is probably a wave 3, and then eventually I think it's going to go up and hit the 78% Fibonacci retracement for like a wave 5 on the 4-hour time frame. I expect gold to be very overlapping, very corrective for a few days, probably playing out for like an ABC pullback for like a wave 4. Definitely keep an eye on your Fibonacci retracement levels for the end of this A, B, and then potentially up for a C. Especially if you're trading the sort of time frames, which, in my experience, most people that trade gold are trading the sort of time frames. Going down to the yen basket for a quick minute, I always just look at the yen basket on the daily just so I can, get a confirmation of direction. Trend is definitely down. We are sitting at the 78% fib, but we definitely do not have a breakup. We definitely do not have a significant higher low. The trend is definitely still down, which means we should potentially still be bullish on the euro yen, pound yen, dollar yen, and all the other dollar pairs. Just like the dollar index tells me what to do on the dollar pairs, the JPY basket tells you what to do on the yen pairs. So moving on to the dollar yen. The dollar yen is definitely in an uptrend unless we break this low right here, which we haven't done yet. We got our Fibonacci retracement from here to here. We definitely got a pretty nice little rejection candle right here. There is definitely a chance that this thing just keeps on trending. The trend is always your friend. Now on the 4-hour time frame, this is the breaker structure that's going to confirm to me that this pullback is over. We definitely did get a nice little fib bounce right here, but it could potentially make a lower high and keep pushing down on the 4-hour. It's not just the fib bounce, it's the fib bounce and the breaker structure that potentially would turn us back into a bull. Going down to the 1-hour time frame, now, if this impulsive move up is like an A, and this is a B, then it potentially will bounce from a fib level and go up like this and make a wave C, which actually, now I look at this, I got my fib level set up from yesterday, so we need to put our fib from here to here. So we potentially should be watching these fib levels for a turn to the upside. When it turns to the upside, if it goes up and breaks this high, then that confirms that the daily's back into the uptrend. When it turns at a fib level, if it goes up, makes like a double top and then pushes back down, then that's more the shape of an ABC, and that tells me that it potentially is just going to keep on going down on the 4-hour time frame. So, as always, definitely keep an eye on your structure level. It's very important. So moving on to the euro yen, we've all been talking about how the yen pairs could be very close to a very big turn, but there's definitely no evidence of that turn yet. And honestly, it definitely could push up to the 138 and beyond before it actually does turn. So the daily is giving us no reason yet to become bearish. Now, the 4-hour time frame on that hand definitely did break structure, but the whole thing is this could be an A, B, C, and then it just pushes right back up, or it could potentially turn into a 1, 2, 3, go down and break this daily time frame low, which would confirm that the daily weekly has topped out. Either way, because of the break of structure on the 4 hour, I would be recommending shorts. Going down to the 1 hour time frame, looks like a very, very corrective pattern. This is all very, very overlapping. Like this is an A potentially, this is a B, this is a C. So keep an eye on it. If it goes up and makes like a triple top, or if it respects one of these fib levels and makes a big engulfing down, then you definitely want to continue to keep on the short side. Just keep in mind that technically the 4 hour is down. Impulsive down, A01, corrective up, B02, should lead to another impulsive down for either a C or a 3. So definitely keeping an eye out for the end of this pullback for a wave C or potentially a wave 3. So the pound yen, just like all the other yen pairs, we could potentially be very, very close to a very, very big turn, but there's definitely no evidence of that turn on the higher time frames yet. This definitely could push up to one of these higher fib levels, turn into like a regular flat on the weekly, which means it potentially could go up to like the 105. It could even go to the 123 and a 138% Fibonacci retracement on the weekly time frame. No reason yet to say that the daily is in a downtrend. No, but just like the other one, it definitely did break on the 4 hour. But this could just be a pullback within an uptrend. It probably is a pullback within an uptrend, honestly. So we definitely want to, primarily be on the long side. But because the 4 hour time frame did break down, I would call this either a wave A or wave one, just like the euro again. I would say this potentially could be either a B or a two. Keep an eye on your fib levels. If it turns out a fib level, it definitely could go down, make a C, and then turn back up. Or it could go down and make a wave three, which would be much, much more impulsive to the downside. So definitely keep an eye on your fib levels, keep an eye on your structure levels. Definitely remember that the trend is your friend as always. Like I said, these are the pairs that I do trade, and I do share all my entries with my members at the time of entry. Definitely not a signal service. It's a group of like-minded traders willing to help each other out. So check out my website if you're interested in that, fxpipcollector.com. And as always, thank you for watching and happy trading.